Winnie Hayes' jig. Let's go through the tune slowly. Now, the first little phrase, if you were to play it bare bones, you might come up with something like this. Again. To add some refinements, we'll play a leading note before the first note, so in effect we're playing, but we'll do that with a cut. And we'll change that long E there to 3 E's. Try that again. You could also, other variations you might do. Stay on the E instead of going down to the D there. So, repeat now. Going on. So that is half the first part of the tune. Second part again. Another thing you could do, instead of playing the cut, just use bellows pressure. Now, after repeating the first little phrase, we finish off with and you could also use bellows pressure to articulate those 2 high E's. You can also use octaves very effectively. In other words, keep the low E going while you start the horn. So that's the first part. Let's do it one more time. Second part. Again. I'm not using the outer row F sharp here because I think you need the definition here. Going on. So putting those two together, we get that's a simple version. So putting it all together. Going on. So the whole second part, played simply, will sound like this. And on we go. Of course we won't always play it simply, we will do some little variations. Already one is here, you could just repeat that. But often in the second time through I play something a little simpler. So this gives together. You can even do more fancy variations. Another nice variation to do is to use the octave. Or even little triplet. Also use octaves there. We've seen in this tune how to use bellows pressure to simulate grace notes or to simulate articulations. We've shown how to use octaves to emphasize. Here's another thing you can try. Now, if you've been following my video clips, you'll see that I often play a repeated note 3 times. In places where you might, in other instruments and in other styles of box playing, you might see a roll. Now I want to take that one step further and show you how to use these 3 repeated notes to simulate a roll in a jig, which is has a highly swung kind of rhythm because of the yapata. You can, instead of playing, you can delay it like that. You can try that. I wouldn't do it every time because bare like that it sounds a little bit eccentric. But now, taking that one stage further still, I want to show you how to use a grace note to make that into a real fake roll, a genuine fake roll. So, genuine. Been living in this country too long. Okay. Here we have 3. We could play them straight, but we could put a grace note in there. We could play the G with our 3rd finger. At the moment we're just using 1 and 2. You can play that straight, which you might do in some reels, depending depending on what you want to sound like, straight or swung. There, a few hours practice for you there with that. So index, hit the grace note with your middle finger, with your ring finger. Hit the main note, middle and index. Swung, straight. Up to you to practice. Now, taking this one step further, I find it very handy to be able to do this with starting on either the first or the second finger. And it's probably a little bit trickier with the second finger, but well worth mastering because it saves you having, if you want to play those rolls, saves you swapping your hand all the time. To do it with your second finger, say on this F sharp up here, if we played either straight or swung, we start on the second finger and we end on the second finger. Now let's try throwing a grace note there. This is tricky. We'll have to play main note, grace note with the third, main note with the index, and then main note with the middle finger again. I should start it very slowly if I were you, and once you've got the mechanics right you can speed it up, but very slowly it would be, well, very slowly. So the trick is going from the grace with the ring to the main note with the index. And if you swing them, it makes a satisfactory kind of half roll or fake roll. So in this tune, you could do that second there. So you can have fun practicing these. There we are. So that's Winnie Hayes' jig. Further piece of advice, I based my setting on very beautiful playing of this tune by Charlie Piggott on the record The New Road with Jerry Harrington, the fiddle player. And I've simplified it quite a bit from what Charlie plays, but well worth trying to find that track. Maybe you can download it individually or to buy the album. It's beautiful. And it's played in E minor, which really suits the C-sharp D box. You will often hear the tune played in A minor, when it gets very, very high, especially in the just the climax of the second part. Yeah, I'm not used to playing that key. So it's well worth learning it in that key also, because in sessions you might very often come across it in that key. However, it really suits the box in E minor, as I'm sure you'll find out. Anyway, have fun with that tune.